I do. The little things in life, people. That's what we're talking about today. That is what we're talking about. So, hi, everyone joining. Let's see. Do I know any of these people?
I can't even see that far.
Jackie, okay. Anna, yep. Hi, everybody. Prudence. Hi, guys. Amber. Oh, look at Laura. OMG. OG Laura is in the house. Wow. Okay, Susan, Feline. What a great group we have. So, for those of you who are new.
I'm so blind.
It's okay. I can see, wow. Is my vision really that good? How exciting.
Your vision is that good.
Thank you, Danielle. Anyways, I'm Danielle Piersons. I'm here with one of my favorite people in the entire world, Danielle Savre. For those of you who don't know her, if you've been living under a rock, who knows, but she is an actress, a writer now. She is a voice actor. She is a director. What else do you do?
Host of a podcast?
Oh, yeah, duh. Host of a very awesome podcast that you should all check out.
And watch the first episode.
And definitely watch the first episode. A little biased for that one. But yeah, one of my favorite people. And today's topic is something that just blows my mind all the time, because we're talking about, are you a glass half empty or a glass half full person? So what would you say?
Glass half full.
Yes, absolutely. So I've known Danielle a long time, and when we met, I was very much a glass half empty kind of a folk. And, it was just always so inspiring and aspirational to be around you because it was so apparent that she just viewed the world glass half full. I was so stuck in my own head at that time. I struggled with chronic stress and anxiety for decades of my life. So when I got around someone with this kind of energy, it was always like, why can't I be like that? And I think there's a lot of shame around it. Like if you consider yourself a glass half empty person, you kind of try to hide it. It's mental health, right? And I just wanted to come on and tell you that, yeah, I used to be glass half empty for sure. Not proud about it at all. But I am now a glass half full human, and I still am a Scorpio, and I got my little things about me, and I'm like, but for the most part, it's a choice. So that's, I guess, what today is all about, like talking about how happiness is a choice, how seeing the world. Of course, there are some unicorns maybe and we'll get into that, how you became or how you just are a glass half full person. But, it's, if you do feel like maybe you just kind of see the world maybe pop in a slightly negative light and you're always kind of struggling a little bit and you feel like, God, I could just never be happy. It's not true. You absolutely deserve to be. And when you start to focus on all of the good in your life, you'll start to see a whole lot more of it. And it just gets easier and easier and easier. It's a practice. It's like anything else, right? So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So I guess, having the two sides, a lot of this is how you were brought up. But some of it too is just, there are unicorns in this world, because now, would you say growing up, the people around you were glass half full, glass half empty?
I don't think I registered it one way or the other. I would say growing up, my family dynamic, we were kind of just keep moving forward. Like we had very busy lives, lots of activities and sports, and my mom, a very big side of the family on my mom's side. So we were constantly doing things. I don't think we had a moment to really think about half glass full. It was constantly go, 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 go. And my sister was a star softball player and I was working all the time. And it's weird. Like we didn't really have time to sit back and think. It was probably something I struggled with when I finally had time. I was like, I need to stop and start processing my thoughts and everything. But I personally was always like, I think I just came from a place of naivete, like, and a little delusional, and a little like, oh, I can do anything I put my mind to.
Stay delusional, people. Whatever you do, stay delusional. 100%. Yes, agree with that.
And I think there's something really like nice about that, fun about that. But also, I think what I'm realizing when I really work through that is I'm also somebody who can easily, not can easily, chooses to easily trust people and trust the situation, and be okay that something might disappoint me or I may fail, and I'm okay with that. I'd rather try than not. I think that's like at the stem of it. Like if I'm willing to do something, I have to go into it thinking half glass full. You have to, I think. I think if you go into something being half glass empty, you'll never do it.
You'll definitely fail.
Yeah.
Or you'll never do it. Right?
And so I feel like that is at the root of where that, people say fearless. I don't think I'm fearless, but people see it as fearlessness, because I kind of go into it going like, well, what's the worst that can happen? Well, if I don't try, I'll never know if I can do it. And I'm okay with the failures. I'm okay with, and I don't call them failures, I call them lessons. I'm okay with what comes after that. I'm okay with trusting someone and having my heart broken or having my feelings hurt. It sucks to go through, and I feel like I get older, I try not to put my walls up the more you get hurt by people, because it happens in life. But I really do love that is part of my DNA as well, is I'm like, no, I'm going to choose to trust you, choose to be vulnerable, and hope to God you don't hurt that.
Were you shown a lot of vulnerability growing up?
No.
Yeah. So you're just a unicorn. That's why.
And I don't think I call myself a unicorn.
I'm going to call you a unicorn, okay? Because, it's not like you had, like, and I get it, busy is one way to distract, but there are plenty of people who are busy, go, and are miserable, right? And tend to see all of those activities as things. I have to do this, I have to do that, like, and feel a lot of pressure and stress. I think that there is an element of unicorn, but also, the fact that you have so much awareness around, I'm choosing, like, I'm going to be okay, like, I'm choosing to trust you.
Yep.
And I'm aware that this could be a disappointment or whatever it's going to be, but I'm choosing to see the positives in it.
Yeah.
Was there ever a time when you felt like you were leaning towards the other way? And
of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's inevitable too. As an actor, you have to be delusional. You have to, in order to even attempt this career. But there's definitely times when you start to just be like, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not, why even try? Like, what's the point? I'm not going to book it. Like, absolutely, I went through that. Especially I talk about it a lot in my early 20s, that 21 to 24 was, I think those are the age you start to get older and you forget what years they were. But it was those early 20s, and it was hell. And I really, really, I kind of did this thing, and the way I look at it when I look back on it is I kind of was just in this like cycle of pity party. Like, I couldn't get out of this rut of like, why do anything? Because I'm not going to succeed at it, even if I try.
Yeah.
And then I would sit there and I'd get depressed, and then it would just repeat itself. And then finally, it took 2 years. And then finally one day I woke up and I was just like, what the hell? What the hell am I doing? Like, I'm absolutely never going to succeed if I never try. I can sit on this couch and continue to be depressed at not succeeding, or I can put myself out there. And I was scared. I was going through a really transitional phase of my life when I was becoming a woman and being seen differently in my profession. I think people talk about this, especially child actors. When you go from being a child in cast of children roles and then being a woman, it's a very interesting transition in the industry. On top of that, like, there were so many things happening. My parents were going through a nasty marriage, nasty divorce. And then on top of it, I gained a lot of weight because I was eating my feelings. And then I made some really bad choices at that time too. And I just couldn't get out of it. No matter what I did, everything was a bad choice at that time. And I didn't even want to be seen outside. And then on top of it, in my hometown, I was known for being someone that people when they're younger kids, like, oh, she's got all this money and she's this and that. I was broke. I was absolutely broke, and I was afraid to go outside because I was like, oh my God, like, people are judging me. It was all in my head. And I could have literally, I look back and I'm so grateful I came out of that, but I could have sat on that couch and never done anything and figured out a different path because I was so petrified. And I don't know what it was that one day I just woke up and I was like, enough. Get out of this.
You have to get to that rock bottom enough. So I have a very
Sorry, that was
similar,
very long.
No, not at all. I have a very similar story, except I would get I would get to my rock bottom and then I'd be like, okay, it's just enough. But then I just would keep falling. And I made good decisions. As soon as that was a very tough age. That is an extremely scary and tough age. So anyone in 18 to 24, my God, that was some of my worst panic attacks, and it's a lot of figuring out to do. But the problem is when you hang on to the idea that what you want isn't available to you, and you keep playing that over in your head and over, which you were probably also doing. So human beings, we have 90 to 95%, I'm sure you've heard this, percent of our thoughts are the same as they were the day before, and the same as they were the day before, and the same as they were the day before. So if you're constantly going, I'm not good enough, I'm too fat, I'm too ugly, I'm whatever it is, I'm stupid, you're replaying those stories over and over and over in your head. That's 95% of your thoughts are exactly the same every day. So no wonder you're stuck. So being able to, I love the idea of just fearlessness. It doesn't have to be that you don't have fear, right? It's just that you just have to go, okay, I just have to push myself just a little bit past this. And then tomorrow I can push just a little bit more and a little bit more. But then also just changing that language around no, why would I even tell myself over and over and over that I'm never going to make it? Because first of all, delusional, talk about get delusional in the right way.
Yeah.
Right? We're totally delusional to think our life is just going to be stuck and we're going to be poor and living on the streets and the world this is what I hear a lot with my clients. In this world, in this environment, people are so afraid. Meanwhile, all of my clients, for the most part, they have a roof over their head, they have food in their fridge. Of course, we don't know what's going to happen, and there are tons of terrible things that do happen all over the world, but when you're not feeling good, the best thing you can do is just focus on what you do have and kind of just shut the other stuff out. You're useless to yourself or anyone else when you feel paralyzed. So just being able to, I wish I could have been a fly on the wall when Danielle Savre is just enough is enough. I'm going to go charge my life again like I've always known.
Yeah. And I think the thing is then it becomes this thing once you do start being what people call fearless, which I'm scared shitless. I'm everything I do, whether it's a podcast or a voiceover audition or a normal audition, which I've been doing forever, they still scare me because rejection is not ever, it never gets easier. But I think there's this thing that happens too, that when I started actually doing things, even though they didn't turn out the way I wanted them to, I grew so much as a person. It became and still continues to be such a big part of my evolution and growth as a human being that I'm like, oh, I tried that. If, God forbid, I wanted to, which I'm not going to stop the podcast, but if I was like, oh, I'm done, this is too much, I don't want to do it, and I'm done. I still have learned so much in 2 months, talking to as many women as I have now, 14 women, sitting down and talking for hours. I have grown so much as a human being that if I were to walk away today, I would have learned something and grown as a person. So every single thing I've ever done, even if it didn't turn out the way I planned, which is what we call failure, I grew, I learned, I evolved. And half the time, another door opens that you weren't even thinking of when you put yourself out there. But I get it, it's scary. it is scary to be vulnerable, which I think is the root of, I think, you and I, it's a big root of it all.
Yeah, absolutely. And most of us were not, you didn't, like you said, you didn't grow up with your parents being vulnerable with you or each other. And I certainly did not. We talked about this on the podcast. Like, vulnerability equals weakness.
Yep.
And I think that's what a lot of people are taught, sadly. Our Gen Zers and whatever generation is.
What are we?
You're a millennial. Yeah.
I can never keep track of this.
I'm on the cusp of millennial, but technically, I made it millennial, but I'm really a Gen Xer.
Ooh, there's a Gen X.
That was like the coolest one.
I like it. I would want to be a Gen X. That sounds cool.
It does sound cool, right? So, but yeah, especially the older generations, weakness is, vulnerability is weakness. Showing emotion is, considered, don't cry, don't be weak. So yeah, having a different way of looking at that. And vulnerability is how we connect. Like, we can never get to those deep, beautiful, yummy places of connection without it. So a lot of times people who are really unhappy in their lives, it's because they don't have that connection in their lives, and it's because they are not able to show or be vulnerable with other people. So they're really just like keeping everything at surface, and then they wonder why they're so unhappy.
And would you say too, and I'm learning this now, is you have to feel safe. I think that kickoff point of kind of reaching vulnerability, it's like finding that place where you feel safe, whether that's a relationship, friendship, therapy office, like work environment. Like, I think vulnerability, I'm trying to think back to when it happened for me, is it feels like there has to be at least a place where you feel safe enough to be vulnerable. And then once you're vulnerable, it's almost addicting. You're like, oh my gosh. Kind of, because you're like, it is a lot of work to hold that stuff in.
So it's so much harder to hold it in and put it off.
Yes.
Right? Like you think about what you want to say, or this conversation you need to have, or this way you want to express yourself, and you just keep thinking about it, and it just weighs you down. It's so exhausting, rather than just being like, hey, you might think I'm a dumbass for saying this, or like, that I look weak because I'm offended or I'm upset or whatever it is. But once you get it out, it's out. And then it's up to the other person, right?
Yeah, and I feel like it's interesting that we segued into kind of this conversation about vulnerability too, is because I feel like I'm going through this a lot, where I'm like, I'm tired of holding this, when people have hurt me, and I've kind of been doing this thing, I'm like, I'm just going to let them know. Like, just like, I'm going to, reach out and say, this is what I'm thinking, or this is what I felt. All good. I just wanted to get it off my chest. And I just like, goodbye. Yeah. Like, I need to get it out of my system, because I was holding on to it because what? Because I'm trying to be like, I want to pretend, I want to make it seem like that didn't hurt my feelings. I'm tough.
Yeah.
Or I just want clarity. Like, this does hurt my feelings if it's this, or is this in my head? Can you give me some clarity about that? Because I don't know if this is even reality, or if I'm getting my feelings hurt over something I made up. So I've been really loving that lately. And don't get me wrong, it's scary. Like, pressing send is one of the scariest moments. And then it's crazy the moment you send it and it's out in the universe. It actually didn't matter what the response was anymore.
I love that.
I was like, I don't have to hold on to it anymore. And I'm very much in that phase right now.
So, that does, everything ties back, right? Like, there are all these tools in our tool belt now that, we've spent a lot of time on this type of work, but vulnerability is one of the easiest and quickest ways to get to a glass half full life, because like you said, once you've set it out there, you can release it, and then you're not holding on to all of this just drama in your head, right?
Yeah.
And when you're able to just like go through life being like, cool, okay, what's next? It just makes everything so much easier, and it's easier to see the good that surrounds you.
It's honestly, it is easier. It's going back, it is easier to actually even be more glass half full. Because I'm now like, oh, I don't have to stress about any of that. And somehow that was linked to my self-worth. Like, oh, if this person doesn't like me, or if this person did this thing, that must mean that I did something, or maybe I'm a bad person because they did this to me. So what did I do wrong? Oh, I can let all that go. Yeah. And now I'm just like, cool, what do I need to do for me?
Yes.
You know?
Oh my God, I love that so much. Okay, amazing. Well, I'm not sure. It's 12:21. This is about when we would normally wrap up.
Oh, you're good. I'm the worst. I'm like, really? Oh, crap, it's an hour and a half. I should stop now.
Oh, no. I like to keep it like 20, 30 minutes max.
I think people appreciate that.
Yeah. You all have lives to live. I hope this was helpful. Basically, lean into your vulnerability. Start to just really pay attention to all of the good that's happening around you, because I'm sure there's a whole lot more going on than you're even aware of, and it's just going to take some practice, right? It's not going to happen overnight. It didn't happen for me overnight, but the more I practiced gratitude, vulnerability, seeking out the good, and stopped hyper focusing on all the places I felt bad, felt bad about myself, felt bad about the world, felt bad about whatever it is. When I stopped hyper focusing on that, man, just all of that stress and anxiety just started to melt away. And then suddenly I was like, had my energy back. I could I could be like, I actually am a glass half full kind of person. Yeah. So I think you will find the same as well. Just lean in. And thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Danielle, for being here.
Thank you for having me on.
She's the best. I am going to shout out the new hair. The new hair. Anybody see? She was blonde as of yesterday, but
I was trying to make it. I was like, no, we're not going to make it about the hair. Thank you. You've been telling me for years.
I've been begging her to go red.
And I surprised her.
So, 2 redheads, different shades, but hey. Anyways, all right, you guys. Thank you guys for being with us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, Danielle, you're going to have to
press the X and then do that.